One of the most common complaints that we see as a doctor in primary care centre is tiredness, that chronic feeling of being fatigued. Most of us have experienced this unpleasant feeling of fatigue at some point in our life. At least I certainly have. As someone who's been through rigorous medical training, working long unsociable hours, working on night shifts, then back on day shifts, it really messed up my sleep cycle. And I often used to find myself waking up after 8 to 10 hours of sleep feeling pretty exhausted on a daily basis. We know tiredness is such a broad term. It can be due to so many different reasons, including psychological causes such as stress and mental health, or it could be physical causes such as nutritional deficiencies of iron and vitamins, or it could be due to a symptom of a more serious underlying health condition. Fortunately, the most common causes of chronic tiredness are not due to serious health conditions, but due to our lifestyle choices. In fact, most of the investigations we do for tiredness in primary care, the results often come back normal. In this video, I'm going to talk about some of the changes I have adopted in my lifestyle over the years, which are actually backed by science, and these have made the biggest difference to how energetic I feel throughout the course of the day. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. For those of you new here, I'm Noyan, a general practitioner, i.e. a family doctor based in the UK. Sleep is undoubtedly the most important aspect of our lifestyle that determines how rested we feel. As adults, on average, we need between 7 to 9 hours of good quality uninterrupted sleep per night. It's important to remember the quality of our sleep is equally, if not more important, than the duration. There are many factors that determine the quality of our sleep, which I will cover in today's video. If you're anything like me, I'm not a morning person. I've always been a night owl throughout medical school. This was opposite to my body's internal clock, the circadian cycle. So our body's internal clock responds to many external factors, but it is largely determined by the sunlight. Depending on how light or dark it is outside, it determines how awake or sleepy we feel by changing the hormone levels. The two key hormones are melatonin, which is a sleep-inducing hormone, and cortisol, which determines our wakefulness. If we take a look at the melatonin levels in our body over a 24-hour period, our body starts producing melatonin in the evenings. There's a steep rise between 8 p.m. and midnight. It peaks in the middle of the night and remains at this level for a few hours. Then there is a steep drop back to the baseline at around 7 a.m. in the morning. Cortisol levels, on the other hand, rises rapidly between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m., reaching its peak at 9 a.m. for most people. It starts to decline as the day goes on, more rapidly until around 3 p.m. This partly explains why we feel more sluggish in the afternoons. It continues to decline, reaching its lowest level at midnight, then it starts to rise again from 3 a.m. in the morning. One way to help our body work with our body's internal clock would be to go to bed around the same time each night and wake up around the same time in the mornings. This way, as the melatonin levels rise in the evening to help our body slow down and get ready for bed, we go to sleep, and then we wake up in the mornings when the cortisol levels are at their peak. In order to get 8 hours of sleep, we need to be in bed for longer than 8 hours to give ourselves the opportunity to fall asleep. I'm usually in bed 20 minutes to half an hour before my bedtime. Adenosine is a chemical in our brain that builds up during our waking hours, and with higher concentrations it inhibits arousal and causes sleepiness. Now, caffeine blocks adenosine receptors in our brain and therefore causes us to be more alert and awake. As a coffee addict, I've misused caffeine most of my life, and I not only drank too much of it, but I've also consumed it too late in the day. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 7 hours, which means that if we have a cup of coffee at, let's say, 3 in the afternoon, there's a good chance by 10 p.m. there's half of that caffeine still in our system. And by 5 o'clock in the morning, there's a good chance that there's a quarter of that caffeine still in our system. And this unfortunately results in poor quality of sleep. Now I've cut down to 1 or 2 cups of coffee a day, and I usually have them before 12 p.m. And in the evenings I stick with the decaffeinated drinks. Whether it's the summer or in the middle of winter, I'd like to keep the bedroom temperature on the cooler side before I go to bed, as it helps me sleep better. Studies have shown the ideal bedroom temperature should be anything between 16 to 18 Celsius. Having said that, young children and elderly may require a more warmer environment. Therefore, it's worth investing in a room thermometer. Eliminating noise during the night and ensuring the room is dark will help us get a better quality sleep. One way I've ensured to keep the room dark, even when it gets light outside, especially during the summer months when it gets light much earlier, would be to invest in a blackout blinds or curtains. I certainly think this has been one of the best purchases I've ever made because it makes a huge difference to the quality of our sleep. Blue light wavelengths are beneficial during the daytime. They have shown to be improving our attention, reaction times, and even improve our mood. But they can be very disruptive to the quality of our sleep at night time. I've set all my electronic devices to stop emitting blue light after sunset so I don't have to remember it every day. In fact, avoiding any screen time an hour or two before bedtime can be very beneficial for the quality of our sleep. A common misconception with exercise and tiredness is people often think if they exercise they'll be even more tired. Yes, the short-term effects of exercise is tiredness. However, regular exercise has shown to increase our body's baseline energy levels. The more regular exercise we do, the higher our baseline energy levels, therefore we have more and more energy to spend. Exercise also helps with tiredness by reducing the amount of time it takes to fall asleep and improves the overall quality of it. We know stress uses up a lot of energy, and there are many things you can do to combat stress, but for me personally, exercise has been one of the biggest stress busters. There's nothing like going for a run or a gym session after a long stressful day at work. I tend to exercise first thing in the morning or in the evenings. Generally speaking, avoid exercising too late at night, especially an hour or two before bed. Other types of exercise that helps reduce stress or improves the quality of sleep is either yoga, tai chi, or meditation. Next time you're sitting in the sofa and feeling particularly tired or sluggish, try going for a walk for 10-15 minutes even. It doesn't have to be a strenuous exercise. Trust me, it works better than any caffeine. Lastly, the diet. Now, this is a big topic and I'm not going to cover this in this video, but essentially the key points are to drink plenty of water. Aim to drink at least 2 liters, possibly more if you're exercising, as dehydration is a common cause of tiredness. Again, alcohol consumption, keep it to a minimum. You can avoid it if you like, but that's essentially something that can deeply affect the quality of our sleep. Avoid refined sugar, as these often cause spikes and drops in our glucose levels, which then leads to either being super energetic and alert to these crashes where we suddenly feeling quite low and lethargic. Therefore, it's better to keep our energy levels more steady by avoiding these and keeping it more at a baseline to avoid these crashes. The rest of the diet advice is nothing groundbreaking. We've all heard these before: to avoid greasy fried food, avoid processed canned foods, use fresh ingredients when preparing meals, and eat more fruits and vegetables. I understand there's a lot to take in this video, and if you're someone who's never tried any of it before, it can be quite intimidating to introduce all these changes at once. My advice would be to avoid introducing too many changes in your lifestyle all at once, as it can be quite difficult to keep up and you're setting yourself for failure. It took me years to gradually implement these changes into my lifestyle, and it doesn't matter where you start. Simply pick a change you're willing to make and stick with it, and it takes roughly about 4 weeks of doing something on a regular basis for it to become a habit. Once you're comfortable with it, introduce the next change. So this is obviously a slow, steady process. As long as you're sticking with it, this can be a lifestyle rather than something that you're doing for a short period of time. Please seek the advice of your doctor, dietitian, or personal trainer if you're implementing any of these changes, as the content of this video does not replace any professional advice. I hope you found this video useful. If so, please click the like button and consider subscribing to my channel to see more. As usual, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.